streaming. And we're live. Hello and welcome to the Snappy-Tech podcast, episode number 5. I don't know why I'm kind of singing. So, as of next week, or as of this week, the Snappy-Tech podcast will be an 18 plus show. And that means that we require your credit card information to ensure that you are indeed over 18. So please send us your credit card number, your name, your address, and the CVV on the back of the card. However, before that, we have Paul as our guest. Hello, Paul!
Hello. And
how are you doing?
I'm doing okay, though I'm slightly disappointed because, viewers, George has told me that apparently if I'm going to make up fake sponsors for the show, they need to be fake companies. So
that is correct.
So I am glad to announce that
we
this
have
week
a sponsor?
we are sponsored by Lucas Shade. It is the slightly shady sponsor, or slightly shady younger brother of LucasAid.
Actually, mentioned I was complete. So this happened over the last literally 2 minutes, where Paul did the whole hey, we're sponsored by LucasAid, and I was like, no, we're not. You have to use a fake name. And so he was like, let me grab a piece of paper. So he ran off. I had no idea. I just assumed he was going to come up with a whole fake name. That is so...
Yeah, I had
well played, good sir. Well played.
Yeah, with 1.5 minutes till showtime, I had to go find some paper and some sellotape, then quickly tear up a bit of paper to put onto it. And the pen really didn't work, so
man, that is so good. That is. Oh, I really wish I'd have come up. That's the kind of thing that, oh man, god damn it. Oh man, that is well played, good sir. Well played.
Thank you. Okay.
Oh man, right. So I've just tweeted out links, so hopefully people come join us. Oh, there's one retweet already. It's Paul Stubbers. Who would have guessed?
He sounds awesome.
He sounds like a fun guy. Oh man, so Paul. Let me grab the show notes. So I have been actually, you know what? Before we go talk show notes, how's your week been? Let's talk about our week, because I don't know about you, but I've had a really hectic week.
I honestly don't know what I've been doing this week. I've looked at some houses.
Fun.
Had someone look at my house because fun side fact. I'm moving at some point. Basically all I've done really. Walked with my dog a few times. Yeah, it's been a pretty boring week, to be honest. I spent 8 hours playing games with my friend on Friday. That's the highlight.
Sorry. I was listening to you. Oh, yes, right. Make sure it's the shady side up.
Mm-hmm.
I just muted my mic for a second as I did the Snapchat plug. If you don't follow me on Snapchat, go right now. It's G_Chachinidze. If you don't follow Paul on Snapchat, that's fine. What's your username on Snapchat?
Stubbers11. Slightly easier to spell.
Luckily for the viewer at home, Chachinidze is already on the screen. So all you have to do is kind of look at it and write it down. That is not what I was going for. I'm trying to share the link. Who knew that sharing links could be so hard? But yeah, I have had the week out of hell. I've done a lot of fun stuff this week, but I've been so busy that it's just I literally got home 40 minutes ago, created everything for this podcast, right? Updated all the background and stuff, and then was okay, cool, let's go live. So the show notes are so limited right now that it's not even funny. I put in literally one bullet point for each one.
And they're all stupid ones, right?
Yeah, it's not like I took a piece of I took the golden nugget of information from within each article. No, I just wrote my initial reaction to each one when I first read it.
Well, it's slightly better, 40 odd minutes to do all that. Of course, the show's meant to go live at 8 o'clock, but it's 5 minutes late starting. I didn't know that I was even going to be doing the show until 10 minutes before that.
Yes.
Because my dinner was so late. I was like, George, I may not be on.
Yeah, actually, and again, before we delve into the current news, let me just see if there's anyone in chat. No, good. before we delve into current news, I had a box arrive from Amazon literally 5 minutes before I got home. These are the kind of tight time schedules we work on in this household. It contains some fun stuff. You can't see this, unfortunately, Paul, because my webcam isn't available on Skype. It can either be Skype or a podcast, and the podcast takes priority over Skype. So I'm going to describe these to you as I show the audience at home. I got another GorillaPod, because, you know, GorillaPods are life. And then I got not one, but 2 new Rode microphones.
Okay,
yeah,
so
That's right. I got 2 of them. So go on, throw your best shot on what you think they are. Because you can't.
Expensive.
So the audience can currently see both microphones right now. So what microphones? I really hope you're not watching the stream on the other screen. 'Cause I see you eyeing up your other screen.
Okay, so I'd guess. Well, without looking at the other screen, I would have guessed that it was the podcast mic. I haven't seen. Well, that's not actually no. Is that the one you got the other day that didn't come with the pop filter you thought it was going to come with?
That's this one, yeah. This is it. I've been using it for the last few weeks. It's really good.
Okay, so is it lav mics or
there is
wireless
a lav mic? They're 2 different microphones. So one
is
of
it
them
wireless?
No, it's the Smart Lav Plus.
And that means
it connects into a smartphone as opposed to into a camera.
Okay, so you can stream, like record on your phone. A bit easier.
Yes.
Okay.
So the intention of we have a super secret project in the works, and by we I mean Snappy-Talk, the second channel. Go subscribe to that. That's where
is that the one you mentioned to me the other day?
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah,
that is the one. And so in preparation for this, I have bought a couple of microphones, the Smart Lav Plus, as well as the Rode Video Mic Me. Both of which are designed to be plugged into phones, right? So we're going to get one audio stream from the camera with the Rode mic on top of it. The second one, I wasn't sure how we'd get better audio, having a lav on my sister or the Video Mic Me on the phone pointing at the other person. So I bought both, and we'll see which one sounds better. That's literally the plan right now.
Okay, I would like to say that this video is not, or this stream is not sponsored by Rode.
That is a fact. Even if you ignore I have to say, it must be we must be around the £1,000 mark, surely. Like we're somewhere around there in terms of how much money I've spent on Rode products. However, they do not sponsor us. Oh god, Paul's making up another fake sponsor. So we may not be sponsored by Rode, but Paul, who are we sponsored by? This episode of Snappy-Tech Podcast was brought to you by.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Well, because Rode, it makes it sound like past tense, so it's old tech. At Snappy-Tech, we're all about the new, current tech. So we're in the moment with our mics as well.
Oh, wow, that is the worst joke I've ever heard. Kill me now. I can't open this box. I'm trying to open up the box so I can show the mic to the viewers, but this might be the mic I have to return, so I don't want to damage it. Oh man, it's got a massive... Hang on. It's got a massive dead cat on it. Look at that. That is what you call a wind filter. Right there. There is zero wind getting through that.
My stream's frozen, so...
It's your end. You've probably paused it.
Yeah. No, it's not paused.
It says here that we're running A-OK, so it's not the stream.
Yeah. Yeah, once I refreshed it, I think it's okay.
But look at... you'll see it in a second, right? So this is the... dead cat, and then this is the mic itself. Look at this. Oh man. And the idea with this being, it literally just attaches onto the headphone jack, and all of a sudden you have a mic on your phone. How cool is that? And you get some top-notch audio quality. It even has a headphone jack on the back, so you can pass through audio, so you can see how it sounds. Yeah, that's the level Rode goes. That's right. Should we talk about some current events?
Yeah, rather than just current mics stuff.
So, in the microphone world, Rode recently announced a new... That's a lie. They didn't. But, hey, Rode, if you want to sponsor us, we love your microphones, and we wouldn't say no.
Really? I didn't think you like Rode microphones. You've
only got
5 now or something.
I can count them for you. Hang on. I have
Yeah.
one, two. I have two on my desk alone because I just unboxed them. We then have the reporter, which is the sort of long mic I hold out whenever we go somewhere. We
The
have
weaponized one.
the weaponized one, and then we have the Rode. I think it's just called the video mic, the one that's on top of the camera for most of the stationary video we do, and then we have the wireless kit that costs like £400 for getting wireless signal from a microphone to a receiver. Rode are actually about to release the lav kit. So well, I said they have released the lav kit, right? But I'm waiting for them to release the lav transmitter separately. So you know how the thing that attaches on the bottom of the XLR microphone is like a massive block?
Mm-hmm.
The one that attaches to the end of a lav mic is basically shaped like a smartphone, so you can like slip it in your pocket and it's not an issue.
Mm.
So the plan is to buy one of those once you can buy them separately, so that if we're filming with lavs wirelessly, you don't have like this massive chunk.
Yeah.
Because those are the main concerns. Big chunks are concerns for Snappy-Tech.
Yeah, that's I've got no comment for that.
Right. Okay. Okay. So we've had bloody hell. I'm feeling more and more gonna get that Luca shade. I just want to take a moment to thank Luca Shade. If you go to you can go to lucashade.com/snappytech for 0% off. That was so good. That was, oh my days. I wasn't even remotely expecting that.
See, one of your things for each week is thinking of a joke.
Yeah.
I think from now on, each week I need to find at least one new sponsor.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's your job from now on.
Okay.
What I'm going to do really quickly, before we do jump into the week's news, I'm going to quickly hop onto the live stream via my phone, because if I do it via my computer, then everyone will hear you. So if I do it through my phone, nope, that's not what I meant. And what we will do is we will hear what it sounds like, because I'm worried that Paul might be a bit quiet, but I have no way of knowing without going on. So, Paul, if you start speaking, do you want to talk about the first topic?
Are we doing the HTC one?
Yeah, let's do it in order. Just go for it.
Okay, so if you haven't heard, HTC and their keyboards on their phone have had slight issues this week, where they've actually started showing up ads. According to HTC, this is something they didn't even know themselves. So that may be true, but let's face it, it's probably a lie. But their excuse has been that it's been a third-party developer that makes their keyboard. I can't remember what the keyboard's called, actually, George. What is it?
Sorry, I'm back. What are you saying?
Yeah. What's the keyboard called on the HTC?
It is. Hang on. Whoops! I accidentally turned your volume down. It is called. Let me grab a name. Let me grab the document. It was in the document. It's like you know how they have like they've been talking about like Sense UI or something. It is called TouchPal, the TouchPal keyboard.
Yeah, HTC's excuse has been that it's made by a third-party developer. So they had no idea that they decided to put it in there, and I don't know about you, George, but I think
I don't believe them.
A load of rubbish.
I don't believe them even remotely. The thing for me is what this seems like to me at least is this is it's free in the App Store, right? And if you have a HTC phone, then it might even come preloaded. But what to me it feels like they tried to do is they wanted to put the free, the App Store version to have ads on it, right? So if you didn't have a HTC phone, then it would have ads on it, and if you did, it wouldn't. And what I think has happened is they've gone to do that and then accidentally pushed ads to the HTC version.
Yeah, it's
It still comes across as shady as hell, though.
Yeah, I think you're actually probably right where they have done it to mark them. And I don't know whether they've actually sort of thought about it, whether that people that just have it from the HTC version, whether they want them to not have the ads to be um,
I
sort of
mean,
like, thank you for buying HTC. Um,
well, the
but
crazy thing is, right? But like, have you ever seen ads on a keyboard?
no, I haven't
Like,
seen the pictures. Like, where
have
do
you
they
not?
even put it? No, I
Oh
haven't
man, it
actually.
was a banner along the top of a keyboard, and it was quite a tall banner, right? So you know how if you bring up a keyboard like for predictive text,
Mm.
imagine like a banner on top of a predictive text, like one and a half times the height of a predictive text.
Okay, I'm
So
just
like
trying
you
to
could
see if I
see
can.
less than half the screen.
Oh, yeah, I'm seeing one where it's Bud Light or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just-
Like how? Let me pull it up for you guys to see. Yeah, there's
yeah,
like Travago. Like you can see like it literally covered up more than half the screen.
yeah.
Let
Because
me look at that.
keyboards take up a lot of space anyway, and on a lot of things it's okay. It doesn't really matter too much because you don't need to see a lot of the screen. But when you do need to see some of the screen, then it's just like, why are you doing this to us? Because is it the same in landscape?
I would assume so.
Because if it is, then that's even worse because you can't even see the rest of the screen anyway. It just gives you a tiny box to write in because they usually have the
Yes.
keyboard
Yeah.
taking up the entire width and the way that works out. And yeah, you would basically be able to see like one line of what you're typing. So it's all right for like a tweet because you barely have anything to see.
You barely have
But
anything to write.
yeah, um, but for like a text message, I'm terrible for sending long paragraphs and stuff. I don't even realize until like, I'll finish typing and be like, "Wow, I feel sorry, but I can't go and like change this now."
It's like I feel
But yeah,
bad for you for having to read it, but I'm not going to
uh,
inconvenience myself by making it easier to read.
yeah. But looking back in some of my chat histories, like I have lots of friends that will reply within a few words, or sometimes like one word answers and stuff. And then I'll be every time I'm messaging, it's like 5+ lines, and they're just like half a line.
Paul, I think that's them just trying to tell you they don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, don't tell me that because I already think that enough. So it's
Alas, I've put the thing on my phone. This looks so hilarious. If you look in the live stream, you'll see it in a second. Like the mic on my phone looks like the funniest thing. It just oh my day, I cannot even comprehend right now. It's so great. But yeah, it's HTC. You're idiots for doing it. I just want to put that out there. I don't buy your excuse for even a second. Um, if you're doing it for the free version on the App Store, then that's still really shady.
I just seen the
It's great, right?
okay. Anyway, carry on.
But yeah, if they're just doing it for the App Store version, I still think that's kind of shady. If let's be real here. Adverts don't just appear out of nowhere. It's no one has ever gone, oh no, I'm accidentally monetizing this thing. Oops, I slipped. Right? It's not like in the YouTube settings where it's like a literal tick box. Right?
Mm.
There's code you have to implement there. It doesn't just appear. So, I don't buy it HTC. We'll wait for the truth to be rolled out, I guess. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, I'm thirsty.
But I think 'cause, one of the things I actually wrote in the notes, and if you guys haven't seen it, I've actually written down that it highlights the problems with getting a third party involved in development of things for your
Yeah.
own product. I don't believe HTC's excuse. I think even if it is a third party that makes it, then they had an idea of what's going on. They just ignored it. But it does, at the same point, if it is true, it does actually highlight the problem that when you farm things out to other companies, yeah, there are contracts that will hold them to it. But if they're sneaky, they could be like, actually, the contract does say nothing about this. Let's implement this. And it is a hell of a lot easier for them to screw something up
Yeah.
when it's not their own product they're doing it for.
That and, you should, regardless of how much you trust a third party, right? Always double check their work, right?
Yeah.
I don't care how great you think your development company, your team of developers are. You always take a look at that program and you always check it, top to bottom, absolutely. Make sure it's perfect and go, okay, cool, that's great. And they just didn't do that.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, you can blame after the fact that it's a third-party developer that we have doing it, but especially something like ads popping up, it doesn't take long for them to realise it's something pretty obvious that shows that if they are telling the truth, it's something they're really just not checking up on.
Yeah,
And
either they're telling the truth and there are deeper issues, or they're lying to try and get out of it, I think.
Yeah.
Damn it, HTC. I want to love you, I promise. It's actually, I think I'm just annoyed at HTC in general because the HTC One M8 was whoops. Hang on, there we are. The HTC One M8 was, in my opinion, one of the best phones of the year. Like when it came out, it was probably like the phone I wanted that year. Which was what I want to say 2014, 2013, maybe. Let me check.
M8 would have been 2014. I'm pretty sure.
Where is it? Release date. March 2014. So that phone was like the phone to get, as far as I was concerned, that year. It was like the first time that HTC's phone had ever had like a higher battery capacity than a Samsung phone. It was, it was a bunch of firsts. The OS was better than normal. It was like starting to look good. Had 5-inch 1080p display. It was a great phone, and it was built beautifully back when Samsungs were still made out of plastic.
Yeah.
And that was the one to get, and to me it was a shame because not more people bought it, right? Because HTC is relatively not as well known when compared to the likes of Samsung. But me as a tech geek, and I like to think that most of the Android people, sort of in general, really saw that as the standard, and they've just slipped away. It just disappoints me so much.
Yeah, actually, my dad had the M8. And it was though it felt a little bit slippery, it felt like a great phone. He loves HTC anyway, because by then he'd already had like one or two other HTC phones.
Right.
And he loved that phone. Now he's got the S7. He's had that since like last Christmas time. He's had to take his S7 in for repair. It started working again, and he's had to take it in again for the same issue. And he hates them. Like
What was the issue? Just out of curiosity.
It wouldn't turn on, even if you charged for ages. And randomly, it started working after the Samsung people got hold of it. I think they did some reset or something, and then it stopped working again. Like a few days later.
That sounds like a battery issue, because that's the issue mine had after I got them to fix it.
Yeah, and I've said to you that I said to my dad how if the Samsung support team are really annoying and just real dicks, then we do have contacts in Samsung's PR department.
And they know how much I hate them.
Yeah,
like, to the extent that I was at a completely unrelated event the other week, and they were like, "Oh, you're that guy who made 4 videos about us." I'm like, "Yes, I am."
Yeah, so at the moment that they realise they need to get back on our good sides, because otherwise the videos will not stop.
No, and it's I made sure in those videos, and I will make sure to sort of in general to differentiate that yes, I believe their phones are the best. That doesn't mean I think their employees are great, right? There's a differentiation to be made between someone's product and the people who work for the company, right? Uber is a great example of this, right? Uber, the product, top notch. Uber, the company, they are all douchebags. Like,
yeah, top dicks.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no, they're don't get me started on Uber. I've not had that many bad rides. I've had I think they've all been all right, but then I've had issues with them. Yeah, some of the things I hear other people, like my friends and stuff, having issues with them, it's just like, wow. Just I wouldn't be surprised if you never touch them again for that reason.
So I'm literally I'm totally not messing around with my phone as we record this podcast. I promise. But
well, a little while ago, I made a new sponsor sign, which I will get back to.
Oh,
later.
you made another one? Wait,
yeah,
we can come back to that.
It's linked to another.
Okay.
Another subject, and I need to get the sellotape to glue.
But I've just hooked up the external mic to my phone to see if it would work, and it has worked. So I think this will be the one we end up using. But it's just so funny. I can't help but laugh at how great it looks right now, and I'll have to listen back to the audio quality later.
I think we need to get a sponsor where it's just a company that's like, you can't find the end of the sellotape reel? Get a slave to do it for you.
You know what? Actually, I've got a trick for you to do with sellotape. Do I have some sellotape with me right now? What I always do with sellotape, I don't have any in this room right now, but the thing I personally always do with sellotape is I fold over the end into a little triangle.
I do sometimes,
so
but
you have something to grab onto next, because I have that exact issue of trying to find the end and failing miserably.
I rarely have any nails to pick it off, even when I do find it. So
right, I'll be right back. I'm literally just going to open a window and be right back because it is really warm in this room. I had to raise my seat up as well because I realized I'm completely in the lower half of that frame, so I've raised up my seat just a touch, and it's really weird. Give me 2 seconds. Oh my god, I can hear myself at full volume. I sound so weird.
Yep.
So Paul, just a quick question outside. Quick question outside of World of Tech. Has it been rainy here? Because I've been in central London and it was rainy as hell.
It's been very rainy here. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
It's
just making sure it wasn't just me. Okay, so we've spoken HTC, and I think I've aired my grievances. I think it's safe to say, poor HTC are never going to sponsor us now. But if you do, I'll love your U11, which is just a really weird name. And why does it squeeze? That is the real question.
I really want a new phone. So any phone companies that want to send me a phone, then I will happily accept it. Even if it's like a £150 phone, it will still be better or have a better battery life than my current Nexus, which frankly the battery at the moment is appalling. My G2 lasted the 2 years. It got very slow for the last 6 months, but yeah, this battery's fucked, frankly.
Yeah, and I just want to put it out there. If you're a company and you make good products, get in touch, because we want you. I don't care what the product is. Just do it.
Frankly, if you're a company and you make bad products, get in touch. Just don't expect a good review.
Yeah, expect a bad review, right? But if you make good products, it'll work out great for both of us.
And generally, we're pretty kind with our reviews. So.
On the subject of reviews, I got a product last week, and I put a video up this week of me unboxing it. It had dual angles, and it was all fancy. Did you get a chance to watch it by any chance? It was such a good video. It was like, Paul, how dare you, blasphemer!
I remember the video you're talking about. Let me just see if I can remember what the video's about.
I think my level of excitement as I explained the video to you
was
just next level.
Smart mosquito trap, was it that video?
Yep, that's the one.
I think I did look at it and I thought...
it's literally... I don't know why you'd want it, but it's literally a mosquito killer that's linked to Amazon Alexa.
How so? I did see about...
So it literally just to turn it on and off. That's literally it. So I can be in my room. So I bought an Echo Dot during Prime Day, which is now in my room. Because I like it when Alexa listens to me sleep. So I bought an Echo Dot, which is in my room. So from my room, the mosquito killer is in the kitchen downstairs, because that's where most of the mosquitoes are. I can go, Alexa, turn on the mosquito trap, and it'll turn on the mosquito trap. Or I can go, Alexa, turn off the mosquito trap, and it'll turn off the mosquito trap.
You don't say.
That's literally all it does.
It's like, Alexa, kill me now.
No, I'm not dangerous.
Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah, it said, no, I'm not. What did it say? I didn't
No,
hear
I'm
that.
not dangerous.
Oh, dangerous. Okay.
Damn it, Alexa. I hate when I hear people say Alexa on like shows and stuff now because it always sets it off.
Yeah, I think we need to start censoring the word Alexa. We're not going to do it this podcast because that is way too much work. Maybe from next week. I think what we should do is we should probably do what Twit does, which is refer to it as Echo.
Okay. But until then, Alexa, buy a TV. I've muted my Alexa just in case.
You should actually. I think we're currently working on a Alexa skill for the Snappy-Tech, for Snappy-Tech. So what I highly recommend you do is Alexa, open Snappy-Tech. Hopefully by the time people listen to this, we'll actually have the skill finished. But it's a work in progress right now.
Mm.
Right, should we cover news? Because I feel like we're 14 minutes into this thing and we've covered precisely one topic.
Half an hour, actually, because I think we started like 8 minutes late or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still, precisely one topic. Which, actually, did you watch last week's podcast by any chance?
I did until one part it just froze.
So we covered the first 15 minutes of that podcast was just me researching KFC. Like, it was so funny. And if you haven't watched last week's podcast, I implore you, right? Like, the first, 15, 20 minutes are just so funny. Because it's me covering... KFC released a phone, and it's me covering that, and it is just so much fun. I got, two separate people, message me about how funny they thought it was, and how, just great it was to watch. If you go into... Let me grab the timestamp for you. 17 minutes in, I believe. There. Oh, this isn't timestamped. And then...
I just want to sort of make something clear here. That the first week I wasn't on, you started giving a lesson about the Georgian language.
Correct.
You started teaching people the Georgian language.
That is
the second week that I'm not on, you start talking about KFC for 15 minutes.
Oh, well, no.
So
it was
what's Network's week going to be? Are you just going to go on about your Pornhub history?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Pornhub. Because this ties in with the topic, believe it or not, segue to end all segues. Pornhub is going to have to need your credit card information. So this links into the joke we had at the start of the episode, which wasn't much of a joke.
It also links into my second sponsor.
Oh, God. Oh, no. This is your third sponsor. So, before we talk about Pornhub, Paul, who was this episode of Snappy-Tech Podcast brought to us by?
So, there's a company, it's not very well known, but it does both porn and tea.
What? Porn and tea?
And it may have stole the name from somewhere, but there's a company called PG Tips. And
no! Oh, no!
The writing's not too great, but... This part is brought to you by PG Tips.
Oh man, I think we have to censor that. I think I might have to go back in post and censor this bit. God damn it.
Nah.
Okay, so let's talk. Okay, I love how I say that, and then we're now going to talk about pornography.
Exactly.
Because it's all about context, guys and girls.
Yeah, mine's a tea company. I mean, they may have. This company may also do porn, but
the worst part is you could have kept it at PG Tips, and it still would have been.
But
anyway, we're not digging any deeper into this. So, if you're in the UK, I have horrible news for you if you like watching pornography. Which is a sentence I never thought I'd say out loud. So, it has been confirmed that as of April 2018, if you are a company that works on pornography in the UK, whether it be, if it's monetized in any way, whether it be putting ads on it, or you pay for the service, or you make users pay for the service, you will have to prove that your users are over 18.
Well, actually, isn't it just in general, not even charged for?
Yeah, so if you monetize it, so whether
Oh,
it be
so it is if you get money from. I
so yeah,
suppose all of them get money from it, even from ads, though. So
yeah. So if it's either ad supported or pay for access kind of deal, so both of them have to prove they're over 18. How? I hear you ask. I'm glad you asked. It's you know how sometimes, and I think this happened with Google and the EU, where Google were told off for advertising. Google were told off for advertising Google Shopping over other search engines, over like shopping comparison sites, and Google and the EU just went, fix it. We don't know how, but just fix it. I think the UK have done a similar thing where they've gone, you have to prove they're over 18. We don't know how, but you have to.
yeah.
So what? Well, sorry, go for it.
No, you go.
What it seems like they're going to do, what seems like the most likely step from here is that they'll ask you to enter some credit card information, which is how they'll prove you're 18, because you need a credit. You at least need a. You have to be at least 18 to have a credit card. Question is, will it work with a debit card? Because you can be 14 and get one of those. Just saying.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. They've said specifically that if this is the route they go, which is probably the easiest route, then it needs to specifically be a credit card. But I know I have a credit card. I've had this. I'm on my second one now.
Yep.
And I turned 20 in a few months. However, most of my friends, whether they're slightly younger or even slightly older than me, don't have a credit card. My brother has a credit card, but he's 3 years older than me.
Personally.
Yeah, George doesn't have one. All of my friends that I go drinking with or anything else, like, they don't have them, just because most of them don't even have the credit score to have it. I'm quite lucky that I've been smart enough to build it.
Build it?
Yes. Build it, and they will... come's really the wrong word in this case.
Oh, man. Damn it, Paul. We're doing so well. Oh, man. So yeah, the issue here is, and I think this is an issue I find with people legislating against technology in general, right? Whether it be age checks for this or, just when I see people making stupid decisions that are clearly avoidable, right? The issue isn't, oh my god, there are kids watching pornography 24/7. What are we going to do? The issue is, we need better we need a better educational system, right? To educate kids as to why you shouldn't be watching porn 24/7. But B, like, really? Like, not only is every person different, right? Everyone matures at a different age, right? I feel like putting in a hard number is all right, but it really depends on the person. But outside of that, if I really want, if I was hypothetically under 18 and really wanted to get my hands on a credit card right now, I just go downstairs and grab one out of my dad's wallet.
Yeah,
like, let's be real, right?
Let's face it, though. Most of them will do it. And actually, I want to quickly note something. You know how there's lots of laws where the ages don't make sense?
Yep.
Like, for instance, smoking. You can smoke from 16, but you can't buy it until you're 18.
Correct.
Stuff like that. Porn, they're saying block it for under 18s.
Yep.
You can have sex from 16. So technically you could film your own porn, but you couldn't watch one.
Oh.
Yeah. Back to what you were saying, though.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, I had to double check this, but yeah, it's 16.
It's like when is it in the US? It's in the US? I can't remember. It might be the UK. I think it's the UK. Yeah, because the age of consent is 16 in the UK, if I recall correctly. But the age to drive is what, 17?
Yeah.
So you can get your girlfriend pregnant, but you can't drive her to the hospital.
There are so many laws like that.
It's just, like, so many of these just need updating more than anything else.
Yeah, there's a lot of age-based laws that are just... Come on, guys, like, sort this out. I mean, if you can do this at this age, but this at this age, And
At least make it make sense, right?
Yeah, it's
Also, I just want to point out, I don't advocate the use of this service. Just saying. But if you go to fakenamegenerator.com, it creates a whole fake profile for you. It's great, but I don't use it.
Is George really your real name?
You will never know. George is just a name I made up when I ran away from a mafia. But anyway, so this service creates an entire fake profile, right? And when I say entire fake profile, what I mean is it gives you a name, an address, a phone number, a country code for said phone number, a birthday, your zodiac, an email address, a username and password, which browser you hypothetically use, your company of employment, your physical characteristics, the car you supposedly drive, what your fake favourite colour is, and, believe it or not, fake credit card information.
Slightly in depth then.
It is, yeah, just a touch. It even comes with your mother's maiden name. Like, just want to point that out real quick. It comes with like a fake mother's maiden name. But here's the deal, right? So I could, again, hypothetically here, come onto here, grab the fake credit card number, which checks out, right? If you try to pay with something with it, it won't work because, you know, it's a fake card. But if it's just used to verify that the card potentially exists, right? Which is probably what they'll do, right? Then it works fine.
Yeah, it's
like
it's scary. But
this is kind of hasn't been thought out, right? Let's be real here.
Yeah, though it could be a bit weird if you get into chat rooms, yeah, and they're just like they start speaking to you. Wait, let me just check what the answer to this is.
Yeah, maybe not check. Maybe just like have it in a separate tab. Can you imagine tabbing back and forth? Like,
Yeah,
you look like you sound like you're having fun. No, I'm just frantically tabbing.
No, it sounds like a lot of effort to be doing with your left hand.
I'm left-handed, so.
I'm right. So
anyway, God, how are we talking about this again? Right. So, okay. Right. Let's talk about something else. Something a bit cleaner. For our PG-13 audience, which we have clearly just lost.
Well, technically, we didn't go into any explicit detail.
That is true. That is true. I will give you that one. Nope. There is no
So
yet to be had. Paul, shut up.
When a mummy and daddy love each other very much.
On the subject of loving each other very much, Verizon doesn't love net neutrality very much.
I like the segue.
It's great, right? You get really good at these, it turns out.
Well,
you just said you loved it.
Yeah, maybe I was like.
So Verizon has had a fun week with zero backlash, we promise. Oh man, god damn it, Verizon! They've been throttling Netflix and YouTube because, you know, who wants Netflix and YouTube at a higher resolution than 1080p, huh?
Yeah, it's on the go. I can agree with that, but yeah, this story is just like, especially when net neutrality has become a big talking point recently. Why would you do this now?
Exactly, and interestingly, so here's the deal, right? What they've done, if you're not aware, is they've been limiting it. It doesn't seem to be just Netflix and YouTube. It seems to be video streaming in general. But they're limiting streaming traffic to 10 megabit per second, which is fine if you want to do up to 1080p, which means it's fine for most phones. However, if you own the Sony Xperia ZX Premium, which has a 4K screen, or if you run with your Samsung Galaxy S8 or your LG G6, which have 1440p screens, it's not high enough bitrate to cover that resolution. Which means some users have noticed that they've been trying to watch their quality content, such as the Snappy-Tech podcast, and they've been unable to because it buffers all the time because it's only 10 megabit. This is definitely a case of breaching net neutrality, right?
I think part of the problem they've had as well with it is because they've said that 1080p, 10 megabits per second is a good spot. And as they say, most users wouldn't notice a difference. And fair enough, that is true. But because they've capped it right where the sweet spot is, for those people that are going over, they will notice it. And because of Netflix's speed test thing, that's actually built into Netflix.
Can we just point out real quick that that their domain is great. If you go to fast.com, you get a speed test that's provided by Netflix. I just love that so much.
Yeah, it's good naming. Almost as good naming as Lucasshade.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought you'd come up with another one for a second where I was so concerned.
But it's I think if they're gonna limit it, then don't limit it anywhere near the sort of where like most people would be fine with it. Do it above, then you won't get caught out so quickly.
Yeah, and it was crazy how like it was picked up on like almost immediately, right?
Yeah,
it was like they'd been throttling it for like 10 minutes, and everyone was like, "Guys, what are you doing?"
And what's worse about this as well is they've said that their excuse, if people don't know, is that it was part of a test on optimization for stuff, and they've said that it's going to go on for a few more days before it's like properly reversed. If they actually reverse it, It's just like, okay, you've done something stupid. People have picked up on it straight away, and yet you're saying you're going to carry on doing it.
Do you know what this reminds me of? I've just been reading their official statement, right? And it says here, since 1080p video is HD quality and looks great at 10 megabit per second, right? You know what that's reminding me of? This makes me think of like, do you reckon like 10, 15 years ago when TVs were black and white, there were the people out there who you didn't quite trust, who sold black and white televisions. And they were like, but guys, TV looks great in black and white. Why would you want it in colour?
Yeah, TV looks great in black and white. The good old-fashioned method. Oh, no, just please go away.
I don't even know anymore. I'm just so confused.
As I say though, it's like, why do it now? Net neutrality has been a big talking point in the past like 2 weeks, hasn't it? Or 3 weeks. We've covered it
in both of the last two podcasts at least.
It's been a massive subject. So what had to click in their heads to think now was a good time to do it? Okay, yeah, they may have had it planned for ages, but if it's been planned for ages, you can always push it back a couple of weeks until, okay, yeah, it's still going to carry on for a couple of weeks and be a big talking point. But at least if it's died down a little bit, you wouldn't seem like such massive dicks.
And the crazy part is, you know, whenever something like this happens, and whenever I hear a company do something, and it's so blatantly stupid, right? It's not like a company does something, I'm like, oh yeah, that's borderline, right? I can see how they thought that might be a good idea. It's a situation like this where it's so blatantly stupid. There's a board of people who agreed on this. Like, it's not one guy going, hey guys, I have an idea. It was a group of people who run the company, sat down and went, this is the direction we want to go in.
It does really shock me that, because all these big companies, they do have entire boards of people. It's never one person making the decision, and if there is one person making the decision, it's not a big one. If it's something like this, it is a full board of people doing it. So how can like 5-10 people agree on such an idiotic thing? Like, it makes you wonder, the person putting forward these ideas, they must be the most like amazingly influential talkers ever.
Oh yeah, I'd love to have them on my side, just constantly for everything.
We'd get so many free phones.
Oh yeah, non-stop, all of the phones. We'd have every phone by now.
I've just choked on a liquid.
Good job. Did you choke on
conveniently? Conveniently, choking is also a part of.
Oh god, damn it, Paul! You did not need to say that. Not
I
even
did.
Remotely.
No, that was an important. Like literally, they sponsored me to at some point choke on my tea so I
Uh
can
huh.
make that
Yeah.
comment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh man, I hate you sometimes. Ah. On the subject of hating people, Ajit Pai.
Your comment on it, your note on this.
I know it's because it's true, right? I think this is. I think it was actually. I just want to point out if you looked at the show notes last week, I think we mentioned this or something related to this last week as well. And I think if you look at the show notes from last week's episode, I think there's a very similar show note. Like I think there's a very similar bullet point. If you want to know what it says, check the show notes, because I don't want to get us censored. It's just too much work, I'll be honest. It's easier if we try to stay PG and don't swear unnecessarily. But yeah, the FCC claimed that they were DDoSed back when... Who was it? What's his name? John Oliver? Is that his name? I think that's his name.
Yes, John Oliver.
So John Oliver did this great speech on why everyone should vote for net neutrality and why it's great. And surprise, surprise, like 10 minutes after that segment aired, their website went down and Ajit Pai came out and claimed that they'd been DDoSed. Because, you know, what a coincidence. So they spent the last month claiming they'd been DDoSed. And then they said that they'd been looking into the attack to find out what caused it, who it was, blah, blah, blah. No one believed them at any point during this. I know I surely didn't. So they look into it, and the FCC go, and there's an appeal for information by the public, and the FCC go, oh, that DDoS, yeah, we have no record of it. We don't. What DDoS? That didn't. What do you mean? What?
They obviously haven't heard of the internet because once
Clearly
you say
not.
something on the internet, it stays there.
Which is ironic because the FCC are trying to regulate the internet right now. Oops.
Yeah, so when I see the stream start to crash, we know the FCC are watching.
Oh yeah, any second. Yeah, any second.
Or it's just the NSA, I mean.
Oh, they're listening in any way. So if you're
Yeah.
listening, hello, Mr. NSA person. How are you doing today? But yeah, come on, man. Shit. Listen, dude, I don't want to hate you. It's just I hate every decision you make, and you're making it really hard for me to like you.
And also, his name sounds like it's just
don't
a something pie, a bad pie.
Man.
It's...
okay. Yeah, I'll give you that.
No, this isn't a sponsor.
Okay, cool.
We don't have Pucker Pie's sister company, Puker Pie, or PewDiePie.
PewDiePie.
Yeah, it sounds. His name sounds like a shit pie.
Damn it, Paul. We were so close to you not saying it. So close.
You invite me on. You was the one being like, Paul, please, please say you're around.
Yeah, that is true. I should have known what I was getting into. But yeah, it's I think this is a topic we're not going to get too into because we've been talking about net neutrality so much lately. It's just been like it's a constant talking point, and oh man, and last week I was discussing how Ajit Pai announced he was just ignoring all of the votes given to keep net neutrality. I'm not sure if you read over last week's show notes. But it was he basically said that he didn't care. It wasn't about the number of people who wanted net neutrality. It was about the quality of people who wanted net neutrality. So because none of the big ISPs wanted net neutrality, they were going to get rid of it, essentially.
Yeah, that doesn't work these days.
You see the genius of Ajit Pai when he says stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. That is, we're going to leave it there because if I talk about the FCC anymore, I think I might just jump off a building. So, let's talk about. What do you want? I've run out of segues. What do you want to talk about, Paul?
Well, this was quite a that Jip High subject was quite a ethical conundrum.
Oh
Um,
wow! And I thought my segues were bad.
so yeah, so we went from one ethical subject to scientists talking about putting an ethical black box into robots.
Yep.
And frankly, it's a good idea because one day robots are going to grow up and kill us all.
Yep. Think Skynet. Think what other post? Think HAL 9000.
Think Google in 10 years.
Think Google in 10 weeks.
10 weeks.
Yeah,
Wow,
10
we're
years is a bit of a
very close.
stretch. Have you seen their cars?
Well, I was thinking that, like, in 10 years, they will own, like, every company. So they're,
Yeah,
they're
I wouldn't
secretly
be too
going to break
surprised.
down Amazon and Apple from the inside.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah.
Would not surprise me.
Mm.
But yeah, so I think this is a good idea. I don't know. What's your opinion on it?
I think it's a necessary idea.
Right.
Because, of course, yeah, at the moment it doesn't like give them a whole sense of ethics. It's not like that. Like it makes it sound like it's an being like this is what you should and shouldn't do. But it does give us an insight into what they're thinking when they do something bad or when they fuck up. And they did actually say in the article that we've got on the spreadsheet here on the show notes about it's similar to what they did with planes, where
Yeah.
things did go wrong at times, and by having a second by second account of what was said in the cockpit, what dials were touched, what exactly was going on the plane, then they can actually look back and know what's gone wrong, so they can fix it. And I think if they waited like 5-10 years, then the AI would get very far ahead, and it would be a bit too late by then. But I think by doing this now, one, they're going to knock off a decent amount of time before the AI is actually really intelligent.
And trying
But
to
I
take
think
over the world.
yeah, it's going to give us the ability to see when they start thinking just stupid or morally bad things and stuff like that. And I think it's something that's not just cool to have or useful to have, but something that needs to be had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I just worry, and I mentioned this in the show notes, which are not very full. But if you take a quick glance, you'll see it. I just how do you, if we end up in a scenario where AI is to such an extent that we need an ethical black box, right? How do we make sure that the AIs aren't cheating the ethical black box?
Yeah, it's the same sort of conundrum of putting a kill switch in, whereas you could put a kill switch into code, being like, okay, at any time you can send this message to it and it will shut it down. But if the AI is self-aware enough and smart enough, they can see in their code, wait, if this gets sent, then it's going to cut me out. Let's take this out of the code.
Yeah.
Or let's change it so if they send this message, rather than it shut me down, it shuts them down, for instance. If it's the AI gets smart enough, then what's to stop it from saying something completely different to what happened?
I don't think there is. How do you differentiate that, right? Because it will in a situation where the AI is all knowing, right? Hypothetically,
Yeah.
And it takes a look at the code and goes, wait a second, when I launch this subroutine, it goes, print what they did over here. So why don't I create a second subroutine that does the exact same thing minus that print, and then on top of that, fires fake information over?
Yeah.
Right?
And it's a sophistication of code thing. It's like if you say to a 3-year-old, like, why did you do this? They will probably tell you the truth because they've got no reason to lie. They've got then they don't have the brains to lie really.
Yeah.
They don't realize what's in it for them if they do lie.
Yeah.
Whereas once like you get like, well, like if you ask a 10-year-old why did you do this, then if they're smart enough, they'll usually tell you a lie because they don't always realize that it's particularly wrong, but they don't want you to know either. It's
But
it's an intelligence thing.
They have a concept of white lies, right? The idea that if it's a small lie, and it doesn't really, as long as no one's being hurt by the lie, as long as I'm not going, oh no, there isn't anyone in this well slowly dying, then it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, who has to know that it wasn't me who accidentally spilt some water over the floor?
And it's all right until like robots get their own opinions and feelings, because at that point, when they can start thinking, I don't want this to happen, they can change how like the process. And of course, being computers, if they can get to that point, it's very easy for them to calculate what is going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we're all going to die.
You know what one AI that might take over the world is?
Snappy-Tech AI?
No. If you look at the three topics we have remaining, which one do you think I'm about to segue into?
Google Glass?
Nope.
The one AI... What?
I said, can you think of one AI that might take over the world?
Google. It's not an AI though, so it's...
No, but Cortana is.
Oh yeah, that's...
So that's
it's going to be Google that takes over the world.
That worked if you were a Halo fan, but if you weren't, like Paul, seemingly, it didn't.
I'm not a Halo fan.
Not even remotely. So Cortana, and by association Windows 10. I don't know how I feel about this personally. I don't know, like, part of me wants to be like, well, you should expect it, but another part of me wants to be like, really?
Yeah, it's like you understand why they're doing it, which is something you can't always say, as we said earlier on. There's some things where people do them. It's just like, really, like, why are you doing this?
I think before we go any further, we should probably explain what the story is.
No, let's go talk about the story.
Let's
and
keep
then
talking about it in the third person until someone asks.
So these flying bees that they're putting microchips onto.
So okay, no. Serious note. If you're not aware, Microsoft have announced that thanks to the powers that be, aka Intel, God damn it, Intel, and if you've been watching the Snappy-Tech podcast, you may be aware of the fact that neither of us are massive fans of Intel's latest lineup of CPUs. I think it's safe to say.
Or my current one, which is probably the reason my PC randomly freezes and crashes.
Or that too. So if just in case you're not aware, I keep accidentally hovering over. I need to turn that setting off at some point. If you own one of the four Clover Trail processors, never heard of Clover Trail? I don't blame you, because they're Atom processors that aren't that powerful.
Yeah.
This is literally like, you look at the lowest end Intel Atom Clover Trail processor. It's literally, go away. It's literally a 1.2 gigahertz dual core processor with 1 megabyte of smart cache, whatever that means.
Yeah, I've got a better processor in my Fire TV stick.
You probably do.
Yeah, it's a quad core. It's like I think it's a 1.4 comes to mind. Yeah, it's a quad core.
It's literally less powerful than
my biceps
Snapdragon 400,
which is quite it's quite an old.
I believe they're from the same year. They're both dual core 1.2 gigahertz processors, except one was designed to be in a mobile phone, and the other one was designed
in a
laptop.
To be
in a laptop. Oops.
Yeah, it's kind of a change that's not really going to affect many people. Frankly, if you've got that processor in something, then you
Congrats to
probably
you.
need. Yeah, that's a you issue, not
You've
a.
really managed to pull that one off.
Yeah, that's not a good idea. But something that's came out of this is this is just the first set of CPUs that this is going to happen to.
Yes.
If it carries on this line of um, being very old CPUs that frankly, you could buy a new laptop for 150 quid that is far more powerful.
And I think the big thing is this isn't even an old CPU though, right? This CPU is about 4 years old, which in the general
it performs
scheme
like a 10-year-old though.
it does. I'll give you that one, but in the general scheme of things, it's not like you bought this like I was playing with a 15-year-old PC, had Windows 7 on it. I was updating it and all, and it had a Intel Celeron processor actually, but it was Windows 8, which we updated to 8.1 specifically, was completely up to date, features and all, and that processor was like, call it 15 years old.
It's definitely a new idea of things because up until now, it's never been the hardware that limits an update. It's always the software, and it's a new era of how cutoff points of updates work.
And what ends up happening is it's worth mentioning this isn't Microsoft's fault, right? So Windows 10 will cut support for these CPUs, and by cut support, what that actually means is that there won't be any feature updates. So they will be ineligible for the Windows 10 Creator update when that comes out later this year. They will. So the last update they got was the anniversary update, plus all security updates, which I think is important to note, right? So even though you won't get new features, you'll still get all of your security up through to January 2023. Which is great, which is nice.
Yeah,
but still
and
isn't the same.
That's Intel's cut-off date, so it's not as if Microsoft have decided themselves that is when they're going to cut off support for it. It's that's when Intel have said they're cutting support for
the security is Microsoft. The security updates are Microsoft because that's the end of the Windows 8.1 support period. So what I assume,
Intel was finishing support then as well.
Because I think Intel are doing the feature updates, but what Microsoft seem to be planning on doing is just using Windows 8.1 as the platform for security updates.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, it's Intel have decided 4 years in they want to sweep Atom under the rug, get rid of any trace of it ever existing, mostly because Atom processors aren't doing much, whereas ARM processors are doing a lot more, especially if you look at the fact that you can run Windows 10 on a Snapdragon 820, which is really cool.
Yeah, and I think that was a great decision by Microsoft to
absolutely
put that support over.
Very well done by them.
Yeah. It really screws over Intel, but great decision, Microsoft.
Yeah. But
I
really wish we could stop hating Intel so much.
Yeah, the way Intel have done it as well, though, it puts a lot of blame onto Microsoft because without actually reading into the subject,
it sounds like
you automatically blame Microsoft. But when it doesn't take long to realise once reading an article, actually, this is down to Intel.
Yeah, it's I think I had the same initial reaction, right? When I first glanced at the title, I went, oh my god, really, guys? Like, Microsoft, why would you do this? It's only been out for 4 years.
I saw that, then saw your note, blame Intel, not Microsoft. Yeah.
Once I read it, I was like, oh, so it's Intel who are a pain.
Yep. Intel are not so intelligent, apparently, ironically.
Wow, that was a bad joke. Right.
Yeah, it's still not the worst one this episode.
Nope. Surprisingly not. We've been running for just over an hour and 5 minutes.
Yep. And I've got to drive my brother home, apparently.
Yeah, so...
I'll say apparently.
Do you want to really quickly cover Google, or do you want to call it a show?
I'd say call it a show.
Call it a show it is. So, Paul, If people want to find you, where's the best place to go?
The best place to go is to Twitter at
Okay.
Paul Stubbers. That will be down in the description. I've just noticed
Yes, it's
a
not there
message in
currently
the
because
live
I was
chat.
so quick at doing it. Oh, there is. Oh, it's Andre. Hey, Andre.
Hey, Andre. It's only
Because
that was ages ago, wasn't it?
it must have been.
Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't there a minute ago when I looked. So it's
No. So the reason, Andre, and is because they have to be able to prove that it has to be right. Me claiming I'm over 18 isn't proof enough.
And let's face it, how many people actually give their true age? The type of people that would be watching porn at like 12, 14 years old
Are aware of not
aren't
putting their...
likely to tell the truth.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, it's the reason they don't have a simple yes no is because it's really easy to lie.
Yeah, they've got no way of proving it,
And
and that's the idea.
You get a magic influx of people born on the 1st of January 1990.
Or just 1st of January in general.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to see Steam's age demographics.
Wouldn't you just?
Yeah, that would. Because actually, I've got a feeling that actually some porn sites already do that, where they ask.
I think
your
so.
age.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's a law or not. I think it's just something some do, but they ask for the age, and yeah, that's all. And of course, still plenty of people get through.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, if you want to check out Paul's stuff, you may have noticed, and I mentioned this in last week's episode, you may have noticed we have new short links in the description. So if you go to smpy.tech/iTunes, you will get it on the podcasts app on your phone. If you go to /podcast, you'll get the stream. It tends to go up about an hour after we're done here because I have to export it as an audio file, then upload it into the podcast app and all of that magic.
And also, as well as checking all that stuff out, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
Yes, Lucashade.
Lucashade.
But yeah, so the reason I brought up those short links is because there will be one which is smpy.tech/Paul for his Twitter. If you don't want to go into Twitter and type it yourself, again, not currently in the description. It will be by the time you've gotten around to watching this if you're not watching it live. Which is good for you. Thank you for watching. You're great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andre, the Google 13 Plus rule. I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, I try and.
Oh, as in for creating accounts. That's because they're not legally required. It's just part of their terms of service. That's something they've decided to do as opposed to it being a law. But yeah, we're going to call it a day here. If you want to come join us for the Snappy-Tech podcast, we'd love it if you did. We're live every Sunday from 8 p.m. British summer time because it's summer here. I know, it's crazy, right? It's sunny outside. It's currently 9:30 and it's almost still sunny outside. There's summer light out there. Yeah.
It's raining early on, so...
Yeah, the weather is literally better than it was like 2 hours ago. So, come join us 8 p.m. British summer time every Sunday. It's great. We have a fun time chatting with you, Andre. It was great seeing you.
Yes.
Add me on Snapchat because I'll add you back. It's G_Chachinidze. Fun fact. Actually,
Paul Stubbs on Twitter.
really quickly want to mention. Last week we had a guest. No, we didn't have a guest. I'm sorry. We had someone in the chat who I got chatting to, and I suggested that he add me on Snapchat, and he did. So, dear Eddie Green, which is the name of a guy. This is the chat we had on Snapchat. It was really funny. It was 2 weeks ago, not last week. He said, I'm just really quickly. I posted some spectacle video yesterday, and he said, nice, and then thanks for adding me back, and I went like, no problem, had a chat with him, and then he said, and I'm quoting here, wow, I'm talking to a YouTuber. And I had to be like, don't get ahead of yourself. So I'm officially famous. And on that note, join us next week. Thank you for joining us. If you liked it, do click like because we appreciate it. We'll see you next week. Bye. Have fun. Don't do drugs and
do Lucashade.
Do Lucashade and go to smpy.tech/YouTube for all of our fun stuff. Bye.
Yes. Bye.